What's up, everyone? Thrift Barons here, live from the Sheave Center. It's the Brookstone Coaches Show on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and I am with the head football coach of the Cougars, like we do every week, Coach Ian Headley. Coach, thank you so much for joining us as always, man.
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, what a start to your season, 3-0, baby. All right, first things first, as we always like to do, we want to recap. All right, Mount Vernon. Coming in from the GHSA, didn't have any wins, but you said they're a well-coached team, and if you didn't play your A game, they could make you struggle. Well, you did have some struggles. Talk about what was your final thoughts of that game after a couple of days now.
Again, just credit to them being a well-coached team, physical team. We knew offensively they were going to do some things to try to stop us, and defensively, we knew that we had to play really, really sound. Like I told you before, it was just a weird night, just kind of from the get-go. But, credit to our guys for finding a way to finish. I think we came out in the second half and scored 21 unanswered points and kind of, put it out of reach. But, we found a way to finish.
Coach, having games like that, and I said this on the show earlier, when all things are clicking, that's great. But there are going to be days and games that not everything's working offensively, and you got to rely on winning in other ways, in which is great defense, and not shooting yourself in the foot, overcoming adversity, overcoming touchdowns being called back.
Right.
How did that make you feel, knowing that your team can win in different ways than just putting up the 55 points like you have been in the first couple of weeks of the season?
So, I think it all started, Thursday. I was not happy kind of with our Thursday preparation, so we started practice all over again. We kind of locked in from there, and, just a credit to our defense for just holding it down.
Yeah.
They played lights out. We gave up kind of two big plays, but we kind of put them in some bad situations with some turnovers, so giving them a short field. But, I think just all in all, just defensively, our guys played phenomenal, and offensively, it was just a complete game. We ran the ball for over 150 yards. I think Broughton was about 6 or 7 yards shy of 200. We got some guys that didn't normally get some playing time. We got them some playing time. Deacon Leatherwood got in the end zone, so that was really big for us. Just
awesome. Getting
some development going in our younger guys. Stuart Wolf, another touchdown catch. So, I think right now it's just a matter of just moving along and making sure everybody's kind of on the same page.
Yeah. Coach, who would be your offense and defensive players if you had to pick one for the week? I mean, you don't have to single out one person, but I'm letting you an opportunity to kind of shout out some key guys like you just did.
Yeah, so, offensively, probably have to go to Dylan Terry. He made some amazing runs that kind of kept the drive going, put us in some.
Does he surprise you, Coach, by his productivity this year? Or do you just feel like he just didn't have near the touches last year, and this is something he probably could have done already?
I mean, we saw it all spring. We saw it all spring, saw it in the summer.
Right.
He's a special kid. Just got to get him the ball and kind of let him do his thing. Defensively, it's really the whole defense. Gray Jones had an interception. Again, the D-line played lights out again. A.J. Hayes, MJ made some really, really good open field tackles again. Harrison Baker, again, lights out, made some really big plays. And just collectively, I think those guys, they're just getting better week by week by week.
Talk about the defense. When you mentioned Hayes and Archibald and Jones and, of course, Harrison Baker, these guys are also seniors. They know what it feels like in the jaws of defeat and coming up just short of winning a state championship. How has their leadership been for this year, man?
I mean, those guys, man, they lead by example. The younger guys listen to them. I think everybody else in the locker room listens to them. Harrison Baker, he brings the energy every day, every Friday especially. He's ready to go. Just MJ is getting better and better and better. I'm literally watching MJ take steps every game to just be the dominant player I know he can be. And, it's kind of trickling down just from everybody. They've been giving us a lot of work these last couple weeks in practice. They've been making it really hard on Broughton, which is good for him.
Yeah.
It's great for him. So it's been good.
It's going to be the biggest test of the season. It's the Brookstone Coach Show this week. They take on number one, depending on what poll you look at. They're number one. Brookstone's number one. Either way, it's number one versus number two, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
FPD and Brookstone this week at 7:30. Final question, Coach, about last week's game, and then we'll take a break and talk about FPD tomorrow, which we're excited about, is what are things that you want to improve on? Like, that's always the question. There's always stuff you improve on each and every week, but last week, specifically, I feel like you really probably worked on some things this week. Make sure you shore up against FPD.
Yeah, so, for the last 3 weeks, we've been really, really good as far as taking care of the football. Against Mount Vernon, we had 2 interceptions. That was not like us, just kind of rushing some things. So definitely want to clean that up. I think, the penalties, we've cleaned up the penalties a lot. So there were a couple calls that initially the ref called on us, but then he flipped it back. Yeah. It was on them. So I think we've cleaned up the penalty game, so we're playing more discipline. We've cleaned up the turnovers. We kind of reverted back a little bit. But, we'll clean that up this week. And really just maintaining our level of physicality, just making sure we're physical, making sure we're running to the ball. Yep. Defense, making sure that we're commuting everything on the back end. And that's it.
Ian Headley's his name. He's the head football coach of the Brookstone Cougars. They're 3-0 to start the season. We're going to take a break. When we come back, they're trying to go to 4-0 against a team that's playing the state championship the last 2 years. They won it back in 2023 against Brookstone. FPD comes to town. We'll talk about that and more on the Brookstone Coach Show, Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Are you looking for a powerful new Chevrolet or GMC truck and a great deal? Check them out side by side at Glenn Smith in Opelika. Take your choice of new Chevrolet and GMC 1500 trucks discounted up to $12,000 off. Chevy and GMC heavy-duty trucks discounted up to $7,000 off. People from all over the USA save at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. Get ready to smile.
Imagine making your dreams a reality, achieving your goals and aspirations, and having a financial partner that understands your dreams never sleep. At Kinetic Credit Union, we're more than just a bank. We're 40,000 members strong with local service, personal connections, and a nationwide network. Leading-edge technology to help you make financial decisions easier, smarter, and safer. We are Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Welcome back to the Brookstone Coach Show here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC, Houston Clinic, Kinetic Credit Union, and Coca-Cola. All right, Coach Headley, you're taking on FPD. We're just talking about you like the fact that you've been tested already, going on the road, taking on a Valwood team that is playing the state championship the last 2 years as well, and probably may be there again this year. They're a really good team, but in the 3A classification. How has this week of preparation been? And then we'll talk about FPD in a moment, but how's practice been this week?
Definitely better than last week, in my opinion. Our kids, again, they're embracing physicality. They know the opponent that we're going to play. We know how good they are. They know how good they are, so they're locked in, they're focused. I think we have a good plan on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, and just kind of ready to kick this thing off tomorrow.
It's the number one game, I think, in our area, number one versus number two. It's the number one game in the entire GIAA from everywhere. We do our scoreboard show. With me being the voice of the GIAA, I keep up with it as much as I can. And from what I can tell, and I think we got an agreement with around the state, this is the biggest game of the state, man. Yeah. So all eyes are going to be here at Brookstone as you take on FPD. Now, FPD's they're a really disciplined team. Yeah. They do everything, all the little things right. They're really good at what they do. They're well coached. What are your expectations? What do you know about FPD, man?
Just in kind of researching them in the past, again, just a consistent team, consistent winner. And watching on film, man, they play hard, they fly around.
Yeah.
So we're definitely we're gonna have to be ready for it. We're gonna have to be ready for it.
Yeah, and I was asking, sorry to interrupt, Coach, when off air a little bit, you talked about you got to do what's best for Brookstone.
Yeah.
And you got to do what Brookstone's great at.
Right.
You know, you get in these big games, you think you start overthinking.
Yep.
Like, I need to change this. Let's do this. Let's combat this instead of like, you know what? Let's just line up and play Brookstone football and see if they can stop us. Is that the mindset heading in FPD?
Yeah, you know, just playing in games like this, you know, in South Florida in the district title, you know, the first year I thought our kids, they weren't ready because we haven't been there. We never been there before. The second year, I thought we were ready, but as coaches, our preparation was different, and the kids saw that. So it changed how they view the game in their mind.
Right.
So this week, it's been literally like a normal week. All the periods have been the same. You know, it's been 12 plays here, 10 plays here. Nothing has changed. You know, we aren't practicing an extra hour. We aren't trying to get.
You're not hyping this game up more than it needs to be, right?
No,
just a typical Friday night.
It's everything's the same. Everything's the same, and I think it's helping our kids kind of stay even keel and not buy into the number one versus number two. It's just, you know, I don't think we've even really just brought their name up in practice. We just been practicing. You know, we just been preparing. We know, hey, they're going to be here, so you can't throw it like this. You need to put it on the line.
Right.
And we just been kind of going about our business. And I think it's helping our kids. It's definitely been helping me. I've been able to sleep.
Yeah.
So, you know, haven't really been overthinking. I think we're ready. I know we're ready.
And Coach, getting in there on a Friday night, you've already had 2 home games. You know what it's like here at Max Strong Stadium.
Yeah.
You know how the fan base is.
Yeah.
This is your cry to the community on why you need them more rabid than ever against FPD.
Hey, man, we need you here. We need you loud. We need you in your, I think it's spirit, country. I think it's a country theme, and we just need you here.
Yeah.
It'll be great. It'll be a show. And then, you know, we can come celebrate at the end with us, for sure.
Final question, Coach. What's today like for practice? And then tomorrow, what's the preparation leading up to the game?
Well, hopefully we can have a better Thursday than
Last week.
so we don't have to go back in, put pads on, and come back out. Hopefully, you know, we're for the most part on Thursdays, we've been extremely crisp. Last week was the only week where we were not
And
crisp.
it showed a little bit on
It
the
showed.
Yep.
It definitely showed. So what I'm looking for today is we get in, we get out, we're crisp, and we're done. We go home, watch the JV game, and watch the Cowboys and the Eagles.
That's what I say. You got to watch the Cowboys and Eagles, baby.
Definitely.
No doubt about it. His name is Ian Headley. 7:30, 7:15, countdown to kickoff. Scott Miller on the call. Number 1, FPD. Number 2, Brookstone. Taking on in a battle I think is one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game of the year so far in the GIAA. Cannot wait to watch it. Good luck, Coach. We'll be cheering on the Cougars.
Yes, sir.
Make sure to tune in. And Georgia Alabama Sports Live YouTube channel and Facebook page. We'll take a break. When we come back, I'm sitting down with the athletic director, Jamie Williams, talking about how his first couple months have been on the job here. Brookstone Coach Show, Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Real recognize real. Real taste, unmistakably Sprite. Real refreshment, crisp lemon lime. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
At Jack Houston Memorial Hospital, our focus is you. Even though we performed more than 1,300 joint replacements last year, we treat you like you are our only patient. Your surgeon explains your joint replacement, so nothing is a surprise. Our team knows your treatment plan, and we work together to get you back on your feet again. That's why our hospital is recognized year after year as a leader in patient satisfaction and quality of care. Jack Houston Memorial Hospital. Excellence, always.
Are you looking for a powerful new Chevrolet or GMC truck and a great deal? Check them out side by side at Glenn Smith in Opelika. Take your choice of new Chevrolet and GMC 1500 trucks discounted up to $12,000 off. Chevy and GMC heavy duty trucks discounted up to $7,000 off. People from all over the USA save at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. Get ready to smile.
Imagine making your dreams a reality, achieving your goals and aspirations, and having a financial partner that understands your dreams never sleep. At Kinetic Credit Union, we're more than just a bank. We're 40,000 members strong with local service, personal connections, and a nationwide network. Leading-edge technology to help you make financial decisions easier, smarter, and safer. We are Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long distance love. For the farsighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
Imagine making your dreams a reality, achieving your goals and aspirations, and having a financial partner that understands your dreams never sleep. At Kinetic Credit Union, we're more than just a bank. We're 40,000 members strong with local service, personal connections, and a nationwide network. Leading-edge technology to help you make financial decisions easier, smarter, and safer. We are Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
Welcome back to the Brookstone Coaches Show. This good-looking man to my left is the athletic director, Jamie Williams, who's already a couple months. Can you believe that? Already a couple months on the job. How has it been, man?
Well, number one, it has flown by. Stayed real busy. Even though we're a smaller school, there's just so much going on. Right. This school actually is kind of like its own small town. It's like a community center. When you're 3K through 12th grade, there's always something going on. And I have 3 kids, one in the lower school, one in intermediate, one in middle school, and then I do a lot with the high school athletics. So there's something always going on, but the day flies by. And I tell you what, it has been as good as advertised. Awesome. You know, when you interview and they're recruiting you to take the job, you know, they sell you on all the good stuff. Well, it has been fabulous. And as a parent, you know, my biggest concern was not being able to do the job or right. move, but when you move your family, have 3 kids and take them away from their friends for 8 years and put them in a new school, and everybody I talk to is like, Jamie, trust me, they'll be fine, and they have been. Awesome. One of my little girls is going home on Friday to a family. They're doing a little play date, and so, but I think it's intentional that the families here realize when you're new to go beyond just the handshake of, hey, welcome aboard. And a lot of people specifically have gone out of their way to make us feel welcome. My kids, even at a game, they couldn't find the gate to get to me, and a parent recognized my child as like, oh, that's Coach Williams' son, and showed him how to get through the gate to me. So, Henry Harrell, our head of school, he told me that. He said, Jamie, your family will be known. Your kids will always be safe because there's eyes on them, and they will know that they belong to you. And so I'm finding that out. And I told my kids, like, you can't get away with anything.
Yeah, no. All eyes are on you for
That's
sure
right,
on that.
That's right. But it has a small town feel, and
Awesome.
that was my biggest attraction to taking this job. I grew up in a town of 4,000. I went to an independent school that had 21 people in my graduating class.
Right.
And it was such a special memory of mine growing up in that situation. And that was probably 70% of me taking this job. I wanted my family to have that same experience. And I'm finding out. And probably most independent schools are that way. But you're talking about Columbus, the second biggest city in Georgia.
No doubt.
But we are like a small map dot in middle of nowhere, Alabama, in the sense that we all know each other. We'll all take care of each other. You know, when you hurt, I'll hurt.
Right.
And it's I guess the term I would say is very family friendly.
Awesome.
You know, but like most families, you may have the uncle that you don't speak about. Every place in America
Has one, man.
has the warts, and I keep telling people I'm trying to find those warts, but I hadn't found them yet.
Right.
And it's at the end of the day, it's a school full of young people that are here to learn. And the other thing I would say is probably perspective. Sure, we've got kids that will sign scholarships to play at the next level, but what I'm finding out here, that is not the end goal. I think development of our young people, and my wife pointed out that day, was like, Jamie, what you're describing is just, these are all-American kind of kids. It's what you see in Norman Rockwell, you know, paintings. It's, we do have just well-rounded kids, and it's not something just that's put on a website or put in a pamphlet that gets put out. Like, they do develop the entire human. And so I say all that to say this, what I've noticed in athletics, I really do get a sense these kids are not out there to earn scholarships.
Nope.
Sure, they want that. Everybody wants to put that hat on ESPN, and we welcome that, and we want that for our kids. But that's not a goal, I think, of families, of players or coaches or even administration. I think it goes down to development, and our kids will achieve some of those things. But my intuition when I watch our kids play, they really are playing for the love of the game. And as a lifelong educator and a coach who has been at schools to where if kids didn't get scholarships, they don't go to college. So that was the primary goal, is for that kid to get a scholarship. And here I think it's more about the team and the just good old college try. So it's kind of old-fashioned values when it comes to athletics. And I enjoy the heck out of that, just to see, you know, kids that may not play at a Buford High School at the highest level, but here will thrive because of our situation. And so that's just, it's very refreshing.
No doubt.
Been at different places to see that, like, these kids literally, they're just playing because they like the sport.
It's genuine.
That's
very
a great
genuine
way to put it, very genuine.
And, you know, by the way, we're talking with recently now named national champion of the 1993 Auburn Tigers, baby, Jamie Williams. And I'm so glad Auburn claimed national championship like their counterpart right up the state does for many years. So I'm glad Auburn tried to join the party on that. But, Coach, let's talk about the start of this year, man, the month of August. Your Brookstone volleyball is ranked top 3 in the entire GIAA, playing the state championship back-to-back years. Lee Halverson's done a great job. Softball's off to a 5-2 start, and what can we say about Coach Haley in the football? They're the biggest talk story in this area and in the state right now of how they started the season. Everything's booming, it seems like, with varsity athletics at Brookstone.
Yeah, and when I talk about, you know, our kids, their goal is not to get a scholarship, I don't want to take away, they are still as passionate as the quarterback who's getting recruited, the top quarterback in the nation. They are just as passionate about their sport as everybody you'll see on ESPN.
Right.
And that also shows up, and I think you see that, you know, just to come and another great thing about this school is if I have to cover a softball game, well, Ilgis is right next door. So I'm able to go watch a little bit of volleyball, come back to softball, and you know, maybe get out to watch football practice. So the fact we're unique that everything is very close together, and so if you're a fan, you can come out and enjoy multiple events.
No doubt.
And I was kind of taken aback, you know, at softball. I'm not used to that being in the fall. Like when I see softball, I'm thinking
Spring.
Graduation
Thank
is about
you.
to happen.
Thank you.
So I get excited like end of the school year here, you know, but you know, just the crowds that have showed up and the support and you are right on top. That's another thing. Like with our venues, you're kind of right on top of the action, and that's exciting. One of the softball games, one of the coaches, I think he won a state championship back 20 years ago, was at, and I was able to sit down and talk to him, and him explaining like we didn't even have dugouts. You know, it was a bench over by the fence, and so and that's one of the things I do want to point out too. The passion shows up, and let me say this: Henry and the rest of the board and. My job has been set up for success.
Right.
When you do bring in someone that's not a head coach of a sport and simply athletic director, they have set things in motion before I even started that has really set me up for success. So my goal is to keep the boat going down the stream. Just don't hit the sides. Don't hit a rock. So I've really been set up in a nice position. And one of the things Henry did, I said, hey, my first goal is to learn about the culture. There's always unwritten traditions. There's things that's not going to show up. And, you know, I don't want to get 6 years like, oh, you never knew that. Here's an example. I'm out in the Chiefs Center looking, there's some uniforms that have red in it. Well, recently I was able to sit down with an alumni and Catherine Trotter, who was in the second graduating class, who spent probably 3 decades at this school, who's had kids and grandkids. Ironically, her granddaughter sits right next to my son in a classroom. And I asked her, I said, there's red on the uniforms? And she was able to describe, yeah, we used to have red and it got phased out. And the fact that all these little traditions, and even to ask her what makes Brookstone special, and her 2 words were loyalty and relationships. And you're like, yeah, you're right on. And so I met with Mr. Cheeves and his wife, and the best couple, and I was there to interview them, but I did most of the talking because they poured into me. It's like, what can we help you with? I'm like, wait a minute, I'm here to see how I can help you. And so all that wisdom of all these people, whether they're current parents, former athletes, I've met with about 10 people and been able to discover that's what really makes this place special. It's people and the relationships and the fact that you know, if there is an issue, there are people you can go to that has solved that issue before or has a knowledge of it and saying, you know, well, in the past we've done this, and they're open to change, but a lot of stuff's going really good here. It's not my job to come in and change for the sake of change.
Right.
Is there a way to make it better? And if there's not, keep your hands off of it.
No doubt.
But at least look at it and get input. And what better input than to sit down with some families and former coaches and players. I was even reading some of the state championships out here. I've met some parents. I'm like, well, that parent didn't tell me they were on the 1984 tennis state championship team or golf team.
Right.
And so it's interesting just walking around this room to find these things out. And I've always said the way you can tell the quality of a school, in my humble opinion, how many people come back and put their kids in it.
Right.
Because if you had a great experience, and sometimes your careers take you above and beyond the state of Georgia.
You're not here anymore, right?
But I am shocked at how many grandparents, parents,
Legacy.
kids, and probably about to start a 4th generation to come through. And to me, that's the sign of a healthy school that, hey, I want my kids to be at the same place I was. Because if it wasn't a good experience, you're definitely not going to put your kids there.
No doubt.
And so we've got a lot of things going for us, and with the sport starting out, and you know, just schedules for winter and even spring schedules getting put on the calendar. I'm excited to see how the rest of the year goes. And nothing being able to just, you know, when I got hired July 1, I wasn't part of a lot of the hires that happened. And so I wasn't in the interview process. I was given their phone number. I could reach out to them. So with Ian, you know, just to sit down and talk to him, what a neat guy.
Cool as heck, man.
And what a perspective of bringing what he knows here, and he's been in South Florida, which is, for him, it's got to be a culture shock.
Yeah.
You know, going from these huge schools to an independent school in Georgia, but he's been able to take what's best of Brookstone and what he can bring to the table and put it together, and the kids have bought in, and I think that's why you're seeing what we're seeing. To me, the litmus test for a team is how hard they play. Do they act right? Do they play hard? And we're seeing that, and most of the time that's, I'm going to play hard for the head coach. I had that experience with Pat Dye at Auburn. You know, when he retired or resigned or whatever it was happened, I was heartbroken. I played football at Auburn, but I played for Coach Dye.
Right.
And I look back over my career, even my teachers, you want to perform to impress that teacher because you have a relationship with him. And I think Ian and you know, with the volleyball and Lee and our new softball coach and even our cheer coaches and cross country, there's a connection there that is a little deeper than as if you're at a huge school.
Right.
And I think kids perform better because they want to impress you. Like, yes, I'm a Brookstone athlete, but I'm trying to impress my head coach. And I'm seeing a lot of that. And once again, it's very refreshing to see that.
No doubt.
To where at a large school, you just can't get around and see all that maybe. And so, yeah, the first few months have flown by, but I think it's what's those saying, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
I'm having fun here.
Jamie, final thing I do want to kind of wrap up, because we're going to try to do this periodically,
Yeah, absolutely.
once a month if we can, to kind of get a recap of what's going on around, any news or notes. This is for your message, because, you know, a lot of the Brookstone community is watching right now. Is there anything you want to put out there for them on how they can support anything that's happening around the school? Or if not, we can just wrap it into you. I just want to allow you an opportunity.
Yeah, like there's always opportunities for people to volunteer or get involved. Like we can always use people. And that is the strength of a school like Brookstone, is parental involvement.
Yes.
Or alumni involvement. Like there is a place for you if you want to get involved. Like we're always looking for volunteer coaches or community coaches, because it's going to draw a lot of attention, and that Brookstone B means something.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people just feel like, well, they've got it covered. Like, no, we don't always have it covered. We need people. And you know, sometimes the best I can do is give you a cap or a polo. You know, but I would probably say 1/3 of our coaching staff is either community or volunteers.
Wow.
And that is an amazing thing to have, just to have support. Hey, the head coach will run it, but we do need a support system. So not even in athletics, when it comes to, like, my little girl is going to be in a middle school musical, you know, and I'm going to volunteer for that. So whether it's some program we're doing, or maybe if you want to come help and you know, do a Parents' Day to help get the baseball field ready in the spring. Like,
Right.
we have people for that. And people do have their role and their title, but we can always use people just to come volunteer. And we don't want it to be the same 15 people that are always spending their time, effort, and energy here. We're wide open, and all they would have to do is contact me for athletics, or I know Paul Hampton is over the arts department, and the academics is broad. You can get in touch with teachers, but it's one of the few places now we have team moms. I didn't know that existed after 1992. Right. But no, but I'm telling you what, it's almost like in colleges now you have like a director of blank operation, director of football operation. These parents do so much, and what they don't realize, that stuff a head coach would have to be doing that takes time away from one-on-one interaction with athletes. And so by all these team moms and dads coming out volunteering, you're freeing up the coach to build that relationship.
No doubt.
They may not even know that. And so let me say that when you do volunteer, you're helping the coach-kid relationship. So anything we can take off their plate, administrative-wise, to go down to get a Chick-fil-A sandwich or Subway or bring waters to an event, that frees up coaches to build relationships, and that's what you really want.
No doubt.
Between a coach and a player.
Jamie, if they want to get in contact with you, I know you have been able to meet everyone. You were talking
Correct.
about, you're trying. I mean, you've only been on the job for 2 months.
Right.
But I know there's parents out there that would love to be able to talk to you. Maybe see you at a game, maybe don't know how to approach you. And if you've never talked to Jamie before, I don't know how you can't feel like you can't approach him. He can talk to anyone, man. But how can they do that? I want you to kind of let them know how easy, accessible you are to talk to them about anything when it comes to Brookstone Athletics.
I would be at 90% of events, whether it's academic, parent night, or something. I have 3 kids in school that if you do recognize me, you know, I'm not all hard. It's like, well, you don't know who I am. Trust me, like you said, if they would just come up and introduce themselves, I'm going to forget their names with the volume, but I'll never forget a face. But no, I mean, I don't want people to ever think, and sometimes I'll get an email, hey, sorry to bother you, but,
You're not bothering
and I always reply, you're not bothering me. I hit the apply button. I know at a smaller school, when you're an administrator, you're going to be out there, and someone's like, man, I see you at all these events. I'm like, That's part of my job is to go watch
supposed to
high
do?
school sports. Like, I am more than happy to do that. But I'll also be at other events on campus and in the community, and I would just say, come up and speak to me. I'm an extrovert's extrovert. I have the gift of gab, so I will. Now, be careful, because when you come talk to me, it's hard to walk away from.
I love it, man. Well, Jamie, you've been awesome. It's been a great start to the school year. Looking forward to September.
Yes.
And this Friday night, how excited are you that when you were coaching, did you care about the number 1 versus number 2 thing that's being implied with this game, which is across the state?
As a coach, yes, to the players, you talked about it and you preached hey, one play at a time, don't worry about the scoreboard, and I got this, I'm an Auburn guy, but I love Nick Saban, that you're not here to win a championship. You're here to have a perfect play, perfect drive, perfect quarter, perfect game, perfect season. But you better start with this play. But in the back of your head, you do get excited.
No doubt.
I mean, you would
It's
not
human.
be human,
Right.
You know, because you do want to wake up that Saturday morning and say, hey, guys.
We beat them.
Yeah. And so to your parents and the community, you say one thing, but deep down, you still get the butterflies, you know, because you sure don't want it to be, hey, number 32 playing number 33.
Yeah.
So, yes, you do. It is special. And I know everybody's like, it's not about the polls, it's not about rankings, but it is.
Yeah, people
It
care,
is.
man. And I can't wait for it. 7:30 this Friday night on Georgia-Alabama Sport Live. Scott Miller on the call. Jamie, thank you so much,
Yes, sir,
man.
I appreciate you guys.
Brookstone Coaches Show here at the Sheaves Center, wrapping up on Georgia-Alabama Sports Live.